Hello, welcome to this series where we will explain all data loading utilities in Windchill PLM. If you have an eSupport account, you can just go to PTC Knowledge Base and search for Data Loading Hub. And go to this article. Otherwise, you can just follow with me. All data utilities in Windchill are shown on this image, which needs an explanation because it does not only list them, but compares them from two aspects. There is one missing utility that I will let you discover by the end of this series. First of all, we should understand why data loading in Windchill. Well, data loading in Windchill is a very big topic, and the main reason we are interested to use data loading tools is that we don't want to use the regular UI functionalities such as create part or even create multiple parts, create document, or even create multiple documents. There are many use cases where the regular functionalities are not suitable and we would like to have tools that bulk load the data at once. Even if you are a beginner in Windchill, you should know an overview of all those utilities because you may receive some complex business use cases, and if you don't know the capabilities and limitations of each one of them, you may not suggest the right solution because sometimes we need to combine them all to achieve some complex business use cases. Of course, each one of them requires its own tutorial or training, but the purpose of this series is to discuss them all from high perspective. These illustrations compares those data loading utilities from two aspects. Data loading utilities in Windchill differ whether they are meant to be used from site to site or from environment to environment. I will explain the concept of site and the meaning of environments. But they differ also whether they are shell or GUI utilities, and they differ also in terms of type of objects they support. Whether they are meant to be used from site to site or from environment to environment is shown on the image illustrated by the arrow directions that we will explain later. Whether they are shell or GUI utilities is also shown on the UI. It's between parentheses, but it's just a little small. All Windchill data loading utilities are either a GUI utility or shell one, except to the BEC utility, which is available in both, and Windchill Bulk Migrator WBM, which is a separate software but also used from Windchill Shell. Why we need to know whether they are shell or GUI? Because if it's a shell utility, then we must have the access to the server where Windchill is installed and run the utility on behalf of site administrator, often called the WC admin. But the types of objects supported by each utility is not shown on the illustration, but on the table below. But please do not rely on this table because with each release of Windchill, Windchill may support new types. So always refer to the Help Center documentation for your exact release. Data loading utilities also differ in other aspects, not very important, but we will discuss at the end of this series. I guess GUI versus shell is very clear to anyone working in Windchill PLM. So Windchill Shell is just the command line interface, CMD client, that we use to start and stop the server, administrate the system, or run many utilities. But the site concept needs further explanation.